Hi there, everybody. It's your favorite bear that y'all like to meme over and over again, Freddy Fazbear. And Wilkins here is asleep at the moment, you know, after a long work weekend. So I actually want to pretty much introduce y'all to some special guests here who are very disgruntled with how they have been written on a particular YouTube channel, which we all still love. So we're going to start off with the first one, which would be Mr. WPNZ. Jeez, amateur cameras. Cameramen, I swear. What's up? It's WPNZ. And also, oops, Foxy, good to see you. Welcome to my realm. Today we're talking about character assassinations. We're talking about characters that could have been revitalized and written well, but due to time crunch or whatever, have been turned into a joke. So if you have any questions about that, let me know. So this is going to be kind of one of those type of streams. Oh, that's cool. What's your character? Even though that's not really the main topic of the stream, but what's your character? ADHD is a hell of a drug, I tell you. Anyway, I mean, shit, I have ADD, so I get it. Ugh. Let's go ahead and get this show on the roads, shall we? So, raise your hand if you're a fan of SMG4. I mean, I am. I remember being introduced to that show by, surprisingly, by someone else a little bit younger than me. Um, and it was like, "Have you heard of this channel?" I was like, "No, I haven't." And ever since then, 10 years later, still a fan. Even though a lot of people are either A, confused by their content, B, don't understand the direction that they're going anymore, and they're more focused on trying to create new characters, new characters, new characters. And of course, I believe they had some issues with Nintendo, because of how they're represented. So that's an IRL thing that happened. I wish Nintendo would just hop off the dick of certain YouTube channels if it's parody and these folks aren't really making money off of your precious characters. Jeremy, it's good to see you. You got it to look good, sweet, sweet. I mean, listen, nothing personal. I understand that you and many others are fans of Foxy Paws, but I ain't really my thing. But hey, I'm pretty sure that you can, pull off your own custom. I've given Foxy Paws way too many chances. I'm not really too fond of her models anymore. I know some people want me to wear them, but I don't know. It's just something about them that are off. Look, I'm a Natchin Boar hated Virgo for a reason. I'm gonna say shit that's gonna piss people off. Anywho, back to the main topic at hand. But also, Official Foxy, that's cool that you got your model and stuff taken care of. I'll gladly see it when I can. As of right now, uh, it's 4:10 and I really gotta get this stream going. Otherwise, it'll be 5 o'clock and then, so I won't be on too long. Because I gotta make sure I get this stuff going on, get this taken care of, and then I gotta make sure in about, 6 hours or so, around 10 or 11, I have to go to bed because I have to get up around 6 because my mother's going to the hospital to get this surgery done. And that's gonna take up half of my day. So I'm gonna be at the hospital for like 6, 12 hours. I don't know. All I know is that she needs to get surgery, and that's gonna take up a lot of my time. So that's why I'm getting stuff done now, and then so I can tend to her, tomorrow. Who gave me something? Appreciate the hearts, roses, and whatnot. Nah, no need to apologize. You're all good. People do it all the time. It's just it's one of the common symptoms of having like what if you're like in the spectrum of autism or have ADHD, your brain races, you keep going, you talk about something and it's not really relevant to what's going on. It's happened. I've done it. It's not a big deal. I'm technically somewhat in the spectrum, so it's really not that big of a deal. It happens. I see it happen all the time. People's streams where a streamer is doing something and then someone's talking about something else. And so, like I said, autism awareness, it's a good thing. It's nothing wrong with having it. People have stuff. I deal with individuals who that are in the spectrum of autism too. It's no big deal. It's literally life. We all got something. A simple clarification, redirection is all people need. That's it. It's just something we all got to work on. I remember I used to do the same thing, and my mother would pull me to the side saying, "Don't you know you're supposed to say don't you remember how I taught you? You say hi, you say good morning, and then you talk about that stuff." Because again, you're not really thinking. You're just excited and happy. So you're just thinking to yourself, oh, well, in my mind, I said it. So it's fine. But it's all good, man. It's not really a big deal. I just got to, remind people. It is what it is. I mean, shoot, I'd be excited too. Like, oh, crap, I got this done, and I want to show my good friend and whatnot. So ain't no big deal. But if people want to take offense to what I say, that's perfectly fine. Other people would literally just straight up ignore that and just keep going. At least I'm acknowledging it and just saying it just to help you. But again, I'm an asshole for just stating the obvious. So it's all good. I'm technically an asshole to people now, so it's whatever. But yes, my eternal gratitude for the roses, and I can't really see what that is. It's highly appreciated. Any little bit helps with my mother during this tough time. So. All right, back to the main topic at hand, character assassinations. So, this character, in my opinion, got assassinated, and SMG4 has a bad habit of doing this because of the fact that, how do I explain this? I get where they're going with you know, this character, but I just feel like they're rushing him way too soon. Like, oh, Mr. Puzzle's supposed to be my friend. Instead of like a slow progression, letting us get to know the character's past, maybe get to see a little bit of like, how he was when he was young. Because I actually like this character, and the fact that in the next movie, he's pretty much either going to straight up just get killed off. Because again, SMG4 and the team are good for that. Um, People are just going to forget about him, and that sucks. Now, this time, usually, because, Virgos, they like to fix things. I'm not even going to fix it. No, I'm not going to give hints or tips how to fix it. I'm literally just going to tell you straight up this character is freaking assassinated, and I don't like that, you know? He could have been written a little bit better. They could have done a little bit more with emphasizing why he left. The Karen, but it wasn't really explained. He's just, oh, he's just this tough guy with these cool parts. We don't even know what his ability is. We don't know if he's, incredibly strong or durable. We don't even know if he truly actually cares about Mr. Puzzles and if he's just using them. We don't really know if he actually changed because of his kids you know, or why he got into the mercenary business to begin with. All of these plot holes, and then of course they turned this guy to like, oh, I thought you were my friend. And trust me, I had a good emotional moment. I loved the Mr. Puzzles, and WPNZ movie. I loved the fact that the villains pretty much almost got the big dub, almost, but it's just, just to me, it just felt kind of rushed, you know. But again, that's just the sacrifice with movie making and whatnot. Certain characters get sacrificed, and that sucks. It is what it is. Can't really do nothing about it. But yeah, that's all I can say about him. I'll be all day trying to explain how he could be better, but this Virgo is moving on from that. So what you gotta say, WPNZ? shit, I'm just gonna die anyway, so what the fuck? And of course, they're gonna be like, oh, he's such a well written character, blah, blah, blah. It is what it is. What can I do about it, right? And then, of course, we got this guy, Jax. A character that I actually liked when the show first started. I love how eccentric he was, how sarcastic he was, and I wanted, the SMG4, well, Glitch team to could, you know, bring upon that persona. No, he's deep within his feelings. He has issues with Ragafa. He's scared of what? Corn or something. I don't know. All of these plot holes, again, something that Glitch Production just loves to do to try to make these characters more mysterious than they need to be, and it just leads to nothing. We get this pretty random episode, which I did enjoy, by the way. I love all the episodes where he just talks about people are my playthings, turn them into a narcissistic person, turn into someone that has a narcissistic personality disorder and turn them into a prick. I don't want Jax to be this crazed individual. If anything, Pomni should be the one that crashes out and could probably say stuff like that because it makes sense for her character because especially with all the psychological you know, issues she's been dealing with and encountering. It's kind of strange how she went from almost having a breakdown to acceptance to now she's just all calm and cool. And it just doesn't really make any sense for the overall theme of the show. I don't know what Amazing Digital Circus is. I don't even know how it constantly keeps attracting children when the show obviously has some type of, suggestive themes. And this character, in my opinion, is just dead to me because after that episode, it's like, I don't know how you can fix this. You had this guy who was cool, sarcastic, kind of like the prankster, type dude. I like that. But then you turn him into this psychopath. Like, ooh, I love guns. Like, what are they doing with this guy? I don't know what they're doing anymore, and it sucks. And then in the end, he pretty much has like a psych. He almost has a mental breakdown. Like, if anyone should be having a mental breakdown, it's Pomni. But whatever, it's their show. They do what they want. Anywho, it sucks that this character got assassinated, and can they fix him? I doubt it. What, they're gonna have him apologize to Ragnar? They're gonna have him be this good guy? They're gonna have him be like this character that fully realizes what he's done? Because have y'all noticed this with a lot of these characters? Like, certain characters that people like, they always have these characters like, oh, I fully realized what I've done, guys. Now I'm somewhat of a good person. And speaking of a character that was like that, we got this guy. I'll say it once and I'll say it again. He should have been a villain. They should have never turned him into an anti-hero. They should have never made him the type of person that's like gets along with the SMG, 4 crew. He should have just been a straight up villain because that's what he is. He's a villain, you know and that's what he should be. He shouldn't be this guy that's like, oh well, I care for I care, I have friends and stuff. No, it's way too soon. Can you imagine if I'm trying to think of like a good anime where you just have this one guy who's a villain and then he gets his ass beat so bad by this hero, and then all of a sudden he's like, I understand the error of my ways. Can you imagine if Dio did that in JoJo's Bizarre Adventure? Like he was this generational hater, and then all of a sudden he's like, I understand the actions of my consequences now because you thoroughly beat my ass, Jotaro. No, that's bad writing. No, again, you gotta have a villain in your story. Not, you gotta have like that main villain or like that one villain that pretty much helps push the show, to new heights. I get that they want to kind of like change that SMG3 because to be fair, SMG3 has technically been a villain for a while. So pretty much it's like, well, 10 years later, now he's this hero. But sometimes certain characters should just stay a villain and nothing else. So maybe he's just this person that just doesn't know if he's a villain or whatnot. But it's too late because they already turned him into his anti-hero, which I don't mind, but he's pretty much one of those characters that, in my opinion, that was almost assassinated. Have they not really, thought about how can we make this character likable? Because let's just be real. I don't see a lot of people, especially in this app or even kiddies, where this guy's at because we're SMG3 for a reason because he's somewhat almost too similar to SMG4. And what makes this even worse is that SMG4 you know, oh, he's the hero, he's the protagonist, but he does things that not a lot of actual heroes would do. So it's like I'm really confused. If anyone's like the true like hero type architect, it's Tari, which surprise, surprise, Tari is a Virgo, but she pretty much is the type person that's like, trying to grow. And definitely Melanie. Melanie definitely has that type of hero archetype. SMG4 is kind of like a mixture of hero and vigilante. And then let's just be real. SMG4 Mario is just straight up like chaotic neutral. Like he's just chaotic neutral. He's like he's not a hero nor a villain. He only does things if it benefits him or if it makes other people happy, so he can be happy. So it's just this character, in my opinion, his whole persona, his whole reasoning for being in the show is just flat out confusing. And in my opinion, they should really look over SMG3 and really ask themselves, does this really make sense? We had this guy who was a well renowned villain based on the SMG4 lore, and now he's just this anti hero. And it just doesn't work unless they can bring back an old villain from, SMG4 verse, and then maybe they can do that. But character assassination is the name of the game for the SMG4 verse. I cannot explain how many times I've seen fellow characters get assassinated. Now, Meggy got saved, which was good. Meggy almost got assassinated. Tari, they kept her the same, pretty much with slow development, which is good. Um, Anybody remember that Belle? Want to know why you don't see her as much anymore? Because she's irrelevant. Even SMG4, like, and the crew themselves admit that she's irrelevant. She was only there to help elevate and push Tari and nothing else. Belle and that one simp character, yeah, just completely irrelevant side characters that are only there just to kind of push the plot a bit or for comedic effect. That sucks, especially when Belle from the Meta Runner series actually has some promise to her. Ah, well, their show, they do whatever they want. But SMG3 is one of those characters where I have to say, kind of assassinated when it comes to characterization, but not really. So while I do like the anti-hero, type spiel with him, I kind of wish they did just a little bit more with his character. And speaking of other characters that have been assassinated, we got your typical I gotta solve the mystery. I got daddy issues, but I'm also a badass, type feminine type character. How many times have we seen this? You got a female protagonist who's trying to figure things out, who happens to be the heroine, who has a troubled past or has some parts of her past that are missing, has daddy issues or some issues with her family, and then all of a sudden ends up being the main victor of the main climactic, ending of of the season of the set show. How many times have we seen this over and over and over again? And listen, I'm for feminism and whatnot, but you have to make these characters believable. Like, these murder drone characters are not unstoppable beings. Now, I can kind of believe that with V, because let's just be real. Or, well, sorry, N, let's just be real. He's the best character of Murder Drones. Don't at me. He is literally the best character of Murder Drones. He is one of the main reasons why you even tune in, even bother to want to watch, Murder Drones. I know there may be other characters that you like, and I know there's some fans of Uzi, but let's just be real. N is well written. He's this character that you could tell suffers from a little bit of a personality, conflict, but he's lovable. But he's also has moments where he's just like he does things, but he at least acknowledges that he does it. Versus Uzi, who's always just like, oh my goodness, I got to solve this and do this. And listen, I love Murder Drones. It's one of my favorite glitch production, anime series. But the show has some plot holes and some issues that honestly I'm surprised were never addressed. Mainly with the main character. I don't know why, but it is what it is. They want to make this dark, eccentric, gothic robot character, and to me, she just comes across as someone who's derivative, repetitive, and of course, when I saw the finale, I already forgot who she was. She's a character that I could care less about. Let me tell you something about the issue with character assassination. Character assassination, pretty much from my point of view, is when you pretty much brutally, write a character so poorly or it's, such in a confusing manner where certain people like myself or the majority will eventually not care. if you were to remove Uzi from Murder Drones and only focus on N, would you really care? Exactly. If you want a good story, everyone has to matter. Take Blaze Blue for example. You got Ragnar the Blood Edge, who pretty much was cursed with the Black Beast, and he has the power to pretty much destroy the world or recreate it, however he wants. But he doesn't want to be the Black Beast. Of course, he's trained by one of the 7 legendary heroes. He meets all of these characters who play a huge role in the story of the world of Blaze Blue. Everyone's important. You remove one character, it affects the whole story. That's good storytelling. Now, when it comes to Murder Drones, to me, it's like you kill off one of these characters and it doesn't really matter. Like in, I can understand if you kill him off, that sucks. He's like, to me, he's like the main character. Uzi is just someone that's just there just to be a main character because, like trying to solve mysteries and whatnot. But in, honestly, best character, don't at me. And if you disagree, that's fine. Again, this is just how I personally feel. When I watch a show and whatnot, I feel like every character at some point, whether they're minor or not, should matter. Otherwise, the whole story just falls apart. Like, I listen, when I think of Uzi, I can't even think of a memorable thing that she's done. Maybe some lines, absolutely, but the only character I can think of is like and I think Uzi's like friends. Those are the only characters that I can think of that actually matter. Unfortunately, the main character is just forgettable, and that sucks. And I could even almost say the same thing for SMG3. You know, in the old days, right? He was just this villain that just wanted to stop SMG4 and whatnot, just typical villain behavior. You know, and now he's just this anti-hero who runs a bomb and coffee shop, and he just happens to be there and just happens to help while minding his own business. It's just kind of confusing. So it's like, well, is he a villain? Is he an anti-hero? I don't know what he is. So it is what it is. It stinks, but like I said, people have the rights to like whoever they like, and I have a right to say what I don't like. It is what it is. And last but not least, and this one hurts the most, and everyone can agree, this character did not deserve to be killed off the way she did. You're talking about a character, in my opinion, that should have either died of old age or maybe towards like the season finale of like the SMG4 verse. This character, and same with Axel, how they died. Now, Axel dying is fine, but this character, no. This is just fucked up. You're talking about someone that pretty much elevated Meggy to where she is. Like without her, there would be no Meggy. So the fact that they just had her killed just kind of sucks. And the way she was killed off was pretty shitty. With this one supposed main villain, like, let's just be real. SMG4 crew, they have issues with writing really good villains. I think the only good villain that I can think of so far is possibly Mr. Puzzles, which is why they keep pushing this character to high heaven because he's pretty much one of their best, well written villains. I'm just going to be real with you. I'm just going to keep it 100. But this character, in my opinion, deserved better. Better writing, honestly, maybe a better outfit, a better design, just better everything. Just someone that should have pushed Meggy to new heights, with Splatfest and everything. The fact that they had to seriously kill this character off, couldn't even give her a new look or anything. Couldn't even, have her literally just be a part of the other Glitch production show starting Meggy, or at least maybe have her reincarnated as a robot of some sort, just honestly sucks. And I'm proud of the SMG4 fan base for pretty much hammering on SMG4, his brother, and the crew for killing off a character that could have been better. And we're not going to talk about the other, what was it, the one guy, the one that starts with the W, who's also Splatoon villain. Yeah, no one cares about him. He sucks. Let's just be real. He's honestly one of the worst written villains. Like he had like a good premise, but let's just be real. No one cares about him. I honestly forgot who he was. He's as generic as they come. Character assassination is when you had a plan for a character, but due to pressure from fans or from sponsors or just your own intuition, whatever, you write the character off to a point where they cannot be redeemed. WP&Z cannot be redeemed. Dusty is done, and they make jokes about this character all the time being dead, which sucks. Jax, I don't care what anyone says, cannot be redeemed. You already turned this guy into this crazy, psychotic, narcissistic, individual who with low self esteem having prick. Like, there's no redeeming this. Like, it's so odd that we have better written characters in Amazing Digital Circus, but you just decide to throw Jax under the bus. Like, now the only way they could pretty much save this character, I know I said I wasn't going to give any advice, but here's just a suggestion, is if it turns out that a lot of these characters were actually bad people reincarnated as these cartoon characters. So, like, Jax could be like the mobster, who's done some terrible things. Then I would say, okay, Jax has been saved because that makes sense. But the problem is, we don't even know what Amazing Digital Circus is about. I know what Murder Drones is about. I know what that one glitch production show, I forgot what it was called, that a lot of people sadly forgot about. I know what that's about. I know what SMG4 to an extent is about, the many misadventures or adventures of these characters, but the storylines are just out there. It's random and it doesn't, it's like, it's just a never ending story. So I guess that's what they're aiming for. And it's no wonder why they keep losing viewers because no one really knows what's happening anymore. I don't know what's happening anymore. Now, I'll cut some slack because finally, after 10 years, they decided to make episodes without SMG4 version of Mario, which, thank you. It's kind of like, a super duper early birthday gift for me because I can't stand SMG4 Mario. He's an annoying prick, but that's just me. And I feel like the character, I feel like the character could be written a little bit better. Like, there are ways to be annoying and still be funny. He's just flat out annoying. He went from being funny to just being flat out annoying and just nonsensical. Like, he has all these different shifts in his mood, and it's just really hard to tell who he is. Take Deadpool, for example. We're talking about a character who's well written, breaks the fourth wall, but he knows how to make you laugh, but he also knows how to make you cry, and he also knows how to make you feel an emote. They're trying to turn freaking SMG4 Mario to like this combination of Deadpool and some other character, and it just doesn't work. They have to really look at what made Mario Mario. You know what they should do? And I think they've already done it, but I know they can't do it because Nintendo having their panties up in a bunch. But there should be, I think they done already, where SMG4 Mario meets Mario has like this nice talk about, hey, what makes a Mario? But of course, they can't do that because Nintendo, because their main focus is Nintendo Switch 2 sales and whatever. Again, this is not an event. This is just me discussing with you all that these are the characters that I feel that are personally assassinated. Nothing really that I say or whatnot can be done. They're written the way they are. And I already know what's going to happen. And when it happens, I'm just not going to be frustrated. I'm just going to look, be at awe, and just be like, yep, called it. I called it, you know. And you know what's interesting? When I saw Amazing Digital Circus, I had a feeling that Jax was going to be the one that's going to be thrown under the bus because they really don't know how to deal with this character who is honestly complex. A lot of other characters are not complex, but Jax, that character is completely complex. All right, because you're dealing with someone who, he has this phobia and he has this personality disorder. It's like, why couldn't you just turn him into your typical jackass sarcastic prick that we all could just know and love, and then save the big climactic personality changes and whatnot towards like the middle or the end? Unless they're trying to finish off Amazing Digital Circus with so many episodes, or maybe they just don't have the budget to write off good at characters. Like, for example, Kane's character personality makes sense. This guy that feels like he's better than everyone and that everyone loves him and whatnot. His personality makes sense. So it's no wonder why when people think Amazing Digital Circus, they think of Kane. That's probably why they made that joke in that episode saying the best character is me. Because when you go into like public worlds and stuff like that, based off of, these characters, you're gonna see a bunch of Kanes more than you'll see Jaxes, then you'll see Ragavas. You'll probably see Pomnies for other reasons. Yes, I'm looking at the adults. That's all I'm gonna say. That's all I'm gonna say. So that's pretty much why that's the case. But all in all, in conclusion to this conversation, and also make sure y'all check out official Foxy. She's working on new music and whatnot, so go check her out and everything. And she's been live on the Purple, which is Twitch and whatnot. So, okay, so yeah, that's pretty much all I wanted to say. There's nothing that I can say that can really change anything. I just wanted to talk about my personal opinions on these characters. I think the one that hurts the most for me is not really Destiny anymore, because at least they acknowledged her, even if they make jokes about her, about her death. It's WPNZ. This is the character that I don't want to see die, that I don't want to see destroyed. Hell, I don't even want to see Mr. Puzzles destroyed or killed, because it's like you got this character, Mr. Puzzles, who is well written and also tragically misguided. Like he's just honestly one of the best villains within their 10 years of doing, pretty much having their YouTube channel SMG4. And I just don't want that character, the PNC, to be ran to the ground. Like, oh, they get their ass whooped by, Maggie and them, and then it's just the typical hero spiel. People are having dealing with superhero fatigue because they're sick and tired of seeing the same old superhero wins, superhero wins, superhero wins. Because like the superhero wins, but what did they learn? What did they gain from it? You know what I mean? It's just that's why WWE is so boring to a lot of people because it's just the same mode. You get your heel, the heel dominates, and then the heel gets destroyed by the face, and then it's just the same thing repeated over and over again. And then you get the face turns a heel, and then it's face and heel, and that's it. Now, there are good examples of this that are actually done well, like CM Punk and MJF feud. What's another one? Of course, MJF with Samoa Joe, Sting and Ric Flair, Terry Boella, aka Hulk Hogan, or vice versa, versus Macho Man, with the Mega Powers. There are good, AJ Styles, with Christopher Daniels. There are good examples of how to do this properly and build it up. Hell, what was it? The Hardy Boys versus the Dudley Boys, which I can't wait for them to wrestle again one last time. You know, there are good examples on how to do the hero and heel dynamic. Face and heel dynamic. Popular one. You got Superman and Lex Luthor. Um, you got you know, I'm trying to think. Deadpool and Thanos. You got Naruto and Sasuke, even though a lot of people have their critiques about those two. You got Ichigo and his redheaded, rival, Ryu and Ken, Rotten of the Blood Edge and Jin Kisaragi, Soul Bad Guy and Kai Kitsuki, the one that's trying to rebel against the order while Kai Kitsuki is about maintaining order. You know, you got Mario and Bowser. You got the legendary, whether you like Nintendo or not. You got Link and Ganondorf. Well written chemistry between these characters, between good guy and bad guy. You know, excellent and well done. You know, you know, um, and I know it's not easy to write characters these days because there's so many ideas and ideas are constantly being taken and blah 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 and copyright infringement. But it's just this is why you have to ask and talk to your community about what will work and what wouldn't work. Because if you don't do that, then your character just dies. It's one of the reasons why just kind of just gonna speak personally about this. It's one of the reasons why I had to get rid of the pony character because the character has already went through enough, suffered enough. So it's like, okay, it's been 4 years. The character's already been established. I'm gonna give it this character the last hurrah. And I'm just thinking about if written this in a graphic novel. It's time to you know, just be done with it and move on to something else. If this confused you, whatever. My fellow Virgos, can I get a holla? I know you understand me. I know you get me. I know you hear exactly what I'm saying. I know you get it. That's it. That's pretty much all I got to say. And I feel like a lot of other people, whether they're Virgos or not, understand where I'm coming from, where others are coming from, because it's like you don't hear a lot of people anymore critiquing these shows because they feel like The voices are being heard. What's the point? It's just, we just got to witness this and just be happy with it. Again, I didn't really want to do this, but I've been a fan of SMG4 and a defender of SMG4 for 10 plus years, despite all the naysayers. But I'm like, look, it's been 10 plus years. I think I have a right to say what I got to say. I think I got a right to be able to, state my piece. You know what I mean? I think I've earned that right in my personal humble opinion. I don't know if it was it 10 years or was it like 7 or 8 years? Regardless, it was close to 10 years. I'm pretty much a long term fan, so I pretty much know what I'm talking about. Okay, especially for someone that almost, I would say, did I watch every single episode? I can't remember. I believe yeah, I did. I did watch every single episode. Sheesh. So I pretty much know what I'm talking about when I say that a lot of these characters could have been written better. Great shows, but they just have this terrible habit of creating some of the most outlandish villains that just die off immediately. And I swear that happens to Mr. Puzzles or WP and Z. Again, what hurts me about WP and Z is that he deserves a redemption arc. Same with Dusty. Two characters that honestly, with tragic past and whatnot, deserve a redemption arc. Mr. Puzzles, I would say so too. But I mean, I'll leave that to the fans to determine whether WP and Z deserves a redemption arc or Mr. Puzzles. Because if they're just going to do the whole thing where Mr. Puzzles just gets killed or sacrificed or blah, 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 it's going to be predictable. It's going to be boring. It's going to be uninspired. And it's just going to be like, whatever. At least, like, when I write my character, Why People Why, when he pretty much does something like that similar, at least I will write it in a way where it builds up to that moment where people wouldn't expect it to happen. But here, it's like you expect it to happen with Mr. Puzzles because you already know what he is. You already know what his dynamic is. But again, there's also some plot holes that you just don't know. So again, when you really think about it, it's no wonder why people have this superhero fatigue. They're just tired of it, Like with the Fantastic Four, great movie, but it's just the same old, same old. Oh, the heroes, good ending, blah blah blah, and nothing really was at stake. Not a lot of people died, and then the same thing with Superman. Like, who really died in like the Superman movie? You know what I mean? It's like great movie, but it's like they played it way too safe. So I don't know. Storytelling takes time, patience, and receiving critiques. You have to receive those critiques so you can actually write a drawing, in a drawing story. And again, if you don't believe me, just talk to anyone else. Say, hey man, this person that I think is stupid was talking about these characters be assassinated. Like, do you think that he's telling the truth that these characters could have been written better? And I'm not saying that these characters are bad characters. No, beyond that, they're actually good characters. I just wish that there was a little bit more to them. I don't expect every single character to be written in this deep and enthralling way where it's innovative and whatnot. Because some characters you just can't do that. You just don't have the time. And for some indie companies, you don't have the budget or the money. But if you can at least just really think about this for a second, all right? Time is valuable and you want to make something that will last forever. You want to make something that even 5 years later people will look at this and say, "That was awesome." Not just, "Oh, it was good, but they could have done better." So like and pretty much you're going to hear that from somebody, but it's just I don't know. Why is it that I'm the only one that's talking about this where I feel like that these characters are being assassinated? Like heck, there's this one video that literally talks about, "Oh my god, the breakdown of Jack going insane is one of the greatest things ever." No, it is not. It was predictable, it was lackluster, and it could have been built up to something even better. And to me, it was way too soon. There's not enough, evidence that warrants Jax having this mental breakdown when that pretty much that scene should have went to Pomni. Pomni is the one that should have had that mental breakdown. Oh, we got a hint of that where she had a crash out, but that's pretty much it. Concluding this topic because who my boy. I feel like a lot of these characters could have been written better. I feel like there could have been more to them, especially Dusty. And I understand that it's pretty much too late for Jax unless they pull some whammy, like some big surprise where it's like, oh wow, because I don't really know what's going on with Amazing Digital Circus these days. It's like when someone tells me there's a new episode, I'm just don't know what to say or feel anymore because it's just like I gave it a chance. I was really excited, and now they're just having these random episode, and it doesn't really add on to the characters. It's just they're kind of doing the same thing that they did with SMG4, where they have these characters. There's barely any character building. That's it. It's just like watching a random episode of WWE, right? You have all these characters, they're just wrestling. There's no build up. Let me give you a prime example of how my character was built up in my wrestling roleplay, okay? You got this tragic character, right, who pretty much wanted to have revenge against El Penta because of some wrestling wars that the family got involved in. So he pretty much wants to prove himself by fighting a lot of wrestlers. He gets his ass beat, and of course he whoops some ass. He's a character that doesn't want to be like this big powerhouse, and he doesn't want to be all unstoppable. I want to add some misery to the character. I want to make a character suffer, shed some tears, question himself, make himself realize if he even belongs in the company enough. But then he works hard. He works out. He learns from his friends. He learns from others. He contacts his broski. His broski pretty much is showing him the ropes how to be a face. He's still conflicted. He almost falls in love. All of this stuff, all of this mystery and intrigue with this character to build up if he actually decides to turn into a temporary villain. But again, it's built up slowly to the point where you still enjoy what's going on, but it's not like too slow where it causes people to lose interest. Now, imagine my character pretty much just went into the business, won every belt, and then just became immortal, and then lost it all, and then went through this redemption arc just to gain it all. That is terrible writing. That's bad. You don't want that. That's boring. It's predictable. You got to add some tragedy to your characters. Now, if you add too much tragedy, that can also be pretty bad too. It's all about balance. You don't want to add too much salt or pepper to your soup, right? You know what I mean? You don't want to add too many peppers to your taco, right? So you got to balance it out. It's like cooking food. You got to add the right amount of ingredients, or it's just not going to taste right. It's just like with content creating. If you do the same thing over and over again, the content creator is going to eventually get burnt out. But if you do something different every now and then, but while also making sure you stay true to your character, you still have your audience, but at the same time, you still enjoy what you're doing. And that's not an easy thing to do because the audience is fickle and they don't know what they really want. Especially if you're dealing with those who are in the autism spectrum, ADD, ADHD, or schizophrenic or whatnot. And listen, you can get mad at me for saying this. I'm just telling the truth, okay? I'm telling the truth. So, it's just content creators and writers and storytellers, they have to make these tough decisions. But the one thing you don't want to do is to assassinate your character. Some people told me that my pony character was assassinated. No, he wasn't. This character was built up for 4 years. He went from, and I'm just speaking realistically here. He went from being like this kind of like hero with vigilante like antics, then went to anti-hero to vigilante, and then went from that to back to anti-hero, and then went back to vigilante. But again, there are certain major events that cause this change because he's mostly an anti-hero at heart, mostly a vigilante at heart, because he's someone that wants to help people, but he questions the reality of where is this all gonna end up anyway. Is he wasting his time? Is he wasting their time? Does he actually matter to people? You see what I mean? It just builds up to this whole perpetual, inedible, decision of whether or not he decides to abandon all of this and just be this, this unstoppable villain for a bit, or he just pretty much suffers in silence and continues to do right while pretty much not letting anybody know how he truly feels on the inside while still pretty much doing miraculous things. You see what I mean? That sounds a lot more intriguing than having Jax all of a sudden just have a crash out. Same with Pomni for no reason because, oh, they've been stuck. I mean, folks, it's only been 6 episodes and they're writing these episodes like there was already like a bunch of side episodes or comics that pretty much came out afterwards. Like, how do you do that? Like, how can you write your episodes where it's like you treat it as if you already had like 100 episodes or 50 episodes later to help build up these characters? I don't know what Kane motivations are. I don't know what Ragfa motivations are, or Gaggle, or any of these characters' motivations are. They're just literally there just to be Kane's little playthings. So it's kind of funny that Jax is the one that says, I treat everyone like they're my plaything. Shouldn't that be Kane saying that? Because he's the one that literally traps everyone by their will, and he gets so obsessed when he gets questioned, to an extent, or when people want to leave for the exit. It's funny how people ask about the exit, and then they just stopped after like episode 1. You see what I mean? Like it doesn't make any sense. Uh, I love you, SMG4. I love you, Glitch Productions. But oh my god, oh my god, it just it's a common mistake. It really is. It's not a big deal. We're just talking. We're just having fun. I'm not frustrated. I just wanted to talk about this for a bit because I was like, I'm just gonna wait and see if any big like streamer that dedicates to like sounding like the characters and whatnot is actually gonna do this. Unless of course they got sponsored by them or somebody else, then of course they can't do that unless it's in a respectable professional matter where it does not step on the wrong toes of those that are sponsored by. I don't know, man. I just had to just get this off my chest. I just thought it'll be a little fun stream. I just wanted to do and just talk about it because I just had to do it. I just had to do it because literally I see a lot of these abbeys like going around Publix, and then I notice how I barely see them in like other worlds. So I don't know. It's just uh anyway. That's pretty much all I gotta say. You know what I mean? So hang on. I like Murder Drones. I think Murder Drones is amazing. I just don't care for Uzi. Uzi is just a character. It's just your typical, you know, power based female that just happens to survive everything. It's just. But I appreciate you all like commenting and stating what you have to say. Like I said, if you have any more questions, you can just DM me and we can talk more about this. Again, love the shows. They're fantastic. Keep up the good work, SMG4 and team. Congratulations on 10 years. Congratulations to Glitch Productions team. But please stop killing off characters that we actually like. You want to know who else does this? WWE and TNA. Oh, TNA used to be they used to do this a lot. They used to bury. See, we don't call it killed up, we call it bury wrestlers. They used to bury wrestlers, and if wrestlers are considered a joke, like in these wrestling roleplay groups that I see, they will literally treat those characters as set joke because, just a way of assimilate within the wrestling cult, the pro wrestling fan culture. So with my company, I want to do something different where those that were jobbers are actually built and established, have well meaningful stories and characters while also paying respects and honoring, what their actual storyline is IRL and what the character is IRL, while also giving them that push that they deserve. Even if it doesn't last long, but at least it can be something memorable. Like Rey Mysterio's World Heavyweight title reign. I still remember it. He cut good promos. It was emotional. It was great. And I consider it, a pretty, nice little homage to the late great Eddie Guerrero. Not all title reigns have to be like long lasting, have to last for like like a year or two or whatnot. That's boring, and that's pretty much a lot of strain on the creative team where they constantly have to keep a champion, ongoing for a whole year. They don't have like any actual additional plans for them. Whew! I was not expected to talk this much about SMG4. This was only supposed to be 20 minutes, but it ended up being almost close to how long have I been talking? Oh my god, I've been talking for 48 minutes, almost close to 50 minutes about freaking SMG4 and characters that I hate that he killed off. Like that is funny to me. That is honestly really funny. Anyway, I'm just honestly hyper. I'm really excited. I know I'm a little nervous, but I am excited and happy that my mother's getting the surgery and she's approved in the insurance. So this is all good. This is all good. But yeah, that's pretty much all I just wanted to just talk about. In all honesty, so I just really wish that there was a way where you know like the Q&As could be more effective. Like you ever have those Q&As from like big streamers and whatnot where it just feels like the same thing over and over again. Hey guys, I'm having a Q&A here and ask me all the questions you want, but they only pick the best questions that pretty much, will help make themselves look good, not about what actually will bring about betterment for the actual, product or whatnot, whatever topic that they're discussing. I don't know, man. I mean, again, that's just stuff that I just noticed throughout the years, and I just find it to be kind of odd. But yeah, that sucks. And since I know that these characters are pretty much are useless, I'll just add them part of my role play for VRC WWE. Hey, they could be like I don't know, the corporate heads or not corporate heads, but it could be like the like part of the creative team or whatnot. So we can just do that instead because yeah, they ain't gonna. Well, I mean, listen, what is SMG4 and the team gonna do with Destiny? What more dedications? And what are they gonna do with Jax? I mean, they already killed this. They already pretty much just brutalized this character. They got this guy wearing a maid dress. They got this guy over here crying. They got this guy over here, trying to be all mysterious and whatnot. They got this guy getting his ass beat by Pomni. And he's over here like, I'm not gonna fight you. I'm not gonna fight you. Like, what is it? You want me to prove this? It's like, oh my god, like what they did to this guy makes no sense. And then what's funny is one of my favorite episodes so far. I think it's the fifth one. What's the fourth one? Where Jax, right? He has like this alter ego. Was it evil Jax? Where he's like all nice and stuff. So I guess that's pretty much like his intrusive thoughts, or like an alter reality of him, like whether or not if he was actually nice. And then Pomni's pretty much, just this bitch. Let's just be real. Just someone that's just cussing. Pretty much the person that she wants to be towards certain people. I think we all have that, personality trait where it's like when we get pushed to a certain extent, we're just ready to just, whatever. Oh my goodness, I talked way too fast. I'm not sorry. I'm just excited. I really wanted to talk about this. I really wanted to get this off my chest. I feel great. I feel great. I love seeing my favorite characters get assassinated because of just ho hum writing. Yeah, I cannot wait to see P and Z just get completely sacrificed, obliterated. And then of course he gets this emotional send off. Oh my god, I've been noticing that pattern with SMG4's writing for a while. Like, oh, here's this character, he's gonna have an emotional send off, and we're gonna cry, and then we're gonna forget about the next day. Because that's just a sign that you really don't know how to write characters that are actually somewhat memorable. You know what I mean? Like, let's just be real. When it comes to SMG4, who is the one character that you can think off the top of your head besides SMG4 Mario? To me, I would say it's between Tari, um, maybe Meggy, and possibly what's the other character that I can think of? I honestly like what is it? The Gmod the soldiers. They're honestly my favorite characters. The ones that are part of like the army and everything. I forgot his name. I like those guys. They're pretty cool. I'm surprised they don't have merch of those too. Oh, let me guess. Copyright infringement. But then again, they technically are copyrighted characters when you think about it. I forgot from which game, so I don't know. Whew! That was a lot. Stay tuned, because I'll talk about Hell of a Boss and Hasbin Hotel if you want to about characters that were assassinated. Remember Nitsi? That poor son of a bitch. That character is beyond assassinated to the point where she is just completely irrelevant. You don't even know this character anymore. Like, you go to a Hell of a Boss Hasbin Hotel World, or you even go to any like Hasbin Hotel based group forum, or even go to a convention, you will not see that character mentioned at all. Maybe you'll see maybe one or two or five, but you won't see like like pretty much a large group of them. That poor character got fucking assassinated for no literally just character assassination, bad writing, just they just straight up just said nah, she's cooked, she's done. That to me is just that honestly just blew me away that they literally did that to her. Like, Honestly, she didn't even deserve that. Like, and honestly, like in the original pilot, which everyone pretty much was like, oh, boo, boo, boo. Nitsi, in my opinion, was one of the best characters. I really, really like Nitsi, but of course, they just had to destroy her in the reboot, and it's just. Do you remember who she is? I don't remember who she is. Do you? No, I don't remember her. She's just an irrelevant side character. Sad, very, very sad. Ooh, this is some nice fan art. This is honestly pretty cool. This is some pretty cool fan art. I'll give them that. They did a good job. Good job. This is honestly pretty cool. Too bad this world is gonna die, or it's probably already dead. Let's see. Puzzle Vision. Oh no, this world dead. The last update was last Christmas. This world dead. It's a shame, because worlds like these are just so beautiful, and then either drama happens or whatever, and then the world just dies. Tis a shame. You cannot tell me that this is not cool. Look at this. This is honest. This is awesome. Also, this is probably why the world died because of this. So, rest in peace. I gotta say, this is pretty cool. Wait, can you actually go in here? Oh, so yeah, now we're just world exploring. So I need to rest my throat. I cannot believe I talked for almost an hour and then I talked really fast. I told myself I wasn't gonna do that, but I did it. I did it. Being a Virgo, I swear, can be such a headache. I really tried. I was like, I'm not gonna do this. I'm not gonna talk all fast. I'm not gonna get all super excited. And it happened. It happened. Like, oh, I tried. I tried. Maybe that's probably why Foxy wanted to talk about someone else because she knew that I was gonna do this, where I would talk blah 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 about this. What's this? Mario the Explorer. Oh my god. I gotta say, hats off to the creator, and you know, see, worlds like this are pretty cool. They come every blue moon. Every blue moon is when you see them. Yee. This is pretty nice. I like this. I like this a lot. Yeah, so we're just gonna explore a few more worlds, and then I'm just gonna talk about something. I don't know. Uh, what other worlds do I have? Anybody remember at least RNG Land? No. Anybody remember that? Nope. Nada. Just maybe try. I couldn't get through Hasman Hotel because of the musical type scenes. The musical type scenes were inspired. Just listen. The reason why they do that is because it's just to make fun of Disney. That's it. They just want to make fun of Disney. A lot of people, back in the day when they were young, they loved the musical elements of Disney movies and whatnot. But it came to the point where it was formulaic and repetitive. So indie, like creators, they pretty much like would always have like these sing-alongs as a way to parody Disney. That's it. To some, it's to respect, but to most, it's just to parody Disney. That's pretty much it. So now you know they just want to parody Disney, and honestly, Disney deserves it. There's the dinosaur world. I wanted to show Bliss and her wife this because they love dinosaurs and science, and they pretty much coexist with one another. I sent them a message, but they never responded back. It's typical for me. It happens. It's whatever. Freaking dinosaurs, man. I mean, this is honestly pretty cool. I love this. I wish you could ride the dinosaurs, but you can't. You can't ride them. But yeah, I honestly forgot about Hazbin Hotel. And same with Hell of a Boss. Because it's like I said before, Luna is a great character, but she's also overrated character because we don't know much about her. We just don't. She's just this character, like, let's just be real, that adults just really like, which, I mean, I don't blame them, but it's just, I want more. I want more than, oh, she just has this personality. Like, I want to know more. I want to know what her mom looks like. I want to know what her dad looks like. I want to know, about her past. I want to know why she has this hate, this hate rage, like base attitude towards, Blitz. I want to know, but we don't know. So we just have to deal with speculation and fandoms and whatnot. Honestly, when you surround yourself with the right people, the fans can honestly make these shows a lot better, you know, in a comedic and somewhat serious tone. And then, of course, you got those other types of people who ruin it for everybody else, and then they end up on YouTube because expose based reasons. People literally want to be in a graphic novel so bad, don't even realize we in our own graphic novel. Crazy, I know. All right, I think that's all the worlds I want to show. Actually, just one more. There is one more I want to show. Let's check this. Oh my god, another group in the rules. Now, just make my own instance. That's why I make my own instances. Because all these groups in there. I try my best not to add a bunch of rules to my group, but sometimes you just deal with people who just don't listen. But I mean, this is really nice. I mean, look at this. This is so cool. Even though we're technically underwater. Perfect timing. Thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Perfect timing because I was getting tired. Thank you, TikTok. Fuck you, TikTok, by the way. I just had to get that out my system. I gladly would love to say fuck you, TikTok. It's like we love you, TikTok, but fuck you, TikTok. And that is my right to say. I didn't say anything about the CEO, nothing. I just said the platform. I ain't say nothing about my followers. I'm just talking about the platform, not my followers, not the streamers, the platform. You know, the thing that doesn't have a soul. You have a right to say that you don't like it, while also respecting the followers and also I have a right to say fuck TikTok when you look at my stream and see what the bullshit they did to me. Yeah, they did that bullshit to me. Your content is not original, so we have to restrict you access of who can view your stuff. In all my years of streaming, I've never ever heard of anything so asinine in my life. Honestly, I find it funny. Anywho, is there anything I also want to talk about? Let me just sit down, breathe. All right, here we go. I am hyper today. Okay. So, update on my VR group. They are now invite only. I'm actually going to close the Paul and Hooves group, for invites and stuff until further notice. And I'm going to pretty much make all my groups 18 plus only. If you want to know more details on that, check out my YouTube at Wild Will, where I explain all of that. Well, Wilgins explains all of that. But I am Will, but I'm also Jax. VR could be so confusing sometimes. Y'all could just call me Wilgins. You can call me Jax. I don't really care. I really don't care. Let's see here. It is 5:13. I've been streaming for an hour plus, so I'm gonna go ahead and just conclude everything. Otherwise, the stream's gonna automatically end. So, thank you. Appreciate you all. Eternal gratitude. All that good stuff. Learn from a lot of people. Don't take everything to heart. All this is in good fun and just discussion. Go eat. Go hydrate. And if you don't have cancer, count your blessings. Seriously. Wish me luck, prayers or whatnot with my mother and whatnot as we go to the hospital tomorrow morning. I mean, early in the morning. I can't wait. So to Jax, WPNZ, ST, SMG3, and to Bell from Metal Runner. Y'all should have been written better. Y'all deserve better. And just know that the fans always got you. Unless they do something weird with you guys, then, well, that's my bad. I was supposed to say we're peculiar or just somewhat out of character with y'all. Well, I mean, there's really nothing much we can do about that. I mean, there's already art of Jax in the maid outfit, so yeah, yeah. I'm very concerned. Very, very concerned. Oh, look at that. He's up. I know that was a little bit confusing. You know, the plan was to, pretty much have to, act like the characters, but they didn't work out, so whatever. So we just ended up having a full-blown discussion. But, yeah. This is your naturally born hated Virgo speaking. I may be back a little bit later, I don't know, but I'm going to take me a nice little nap. But yeah, that's it. That's all I have planned for today. And I may just play more Prince of Persia or something. I don't know. We may do some color drop. But yeah. Naps are vital. Naps are great. I'm about to take one. Please, y'all can play. Oh, it disconnected. Oh, thank you. Oh, thank you. The TikTok, the TikTok stream disconnected. Good, 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 good. But to you all on YouTube and Trovo, I'm gonna take me a well-deserved nap.